Started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight, my mom got scared. Said I'm moving with my auntie and uncle in my lap.
And welcome to Overtime, brought to you by KingsCast at www.kingscast.net. I'm Chris Kalazewski.
I'm Dr. KingsCast.
And the Kings are out on the road, rocking it out there, playing surprisingly well. Haven't lost in regulation in I don't know how long.
Today we're going to talk about the Columbus game, the Rangers game, and we're going to get medical.
So that's right. It is episode 91, entitled Road Killers.
Minnesota.
Edmonton.
Calgary.
Pittsburgh.
Washington.
Philadelphia.
Columbus.
New York Rangers. Okay, let's talk about the road trip so far. I mean, it has been surprisingly phenomenal. You know, the Kings had that homestand back in January where they just completely stunk it up. I think they were 2-8 or something. Things were looking bad. You know, we predicted they weren't going to make the playoffs, which we'll talk about that later, about their chances of making that. But I am delightfully surprised at what's going on.
Talk about a streaky team. I mean, you know, I guess we got to ride out the wins while we can. They haven't looked fantastic in some of their recent wins. That's okay. We get some points. You know, this is going to go off a cliff eventually. Hopefully everybody else in the mix also goes off a cliff at the same time and we can get back. And God knows at the end of however many games we have to play left, most of them against division opponents, that, you know, we have some energy going into the playoffs if we get there, hopefully.
Yeah. But first things first, I mean, the road trip, I mean, as of, you know, with tonight's game included, they are 5-0-3. That's pretty amazing.
Who would have guessed, right?
I don't think anyone would have guessed that. Let's talk about the Columbus game, a game that we all looked at the calendar and were like, yes. The Blue Jackets again.
Easy win.
But it was not an easy win.
Not at all.
You know, gave up a late goal, but survived in the shootout. And let's talk about Columbus really quick. Why again do they have a team?
I think it has something to do with Nash. I don't know. I hear he's good.
Well, why does Columbus, Ohio? I'm sorry. When we talk about all the NHL cities,
I hear he has
one of the sleepiest ones out there. I mean, obviously there's other small cities.
But they have a penis cannon, right?
Yes, they do. so that makes sense. Maybe that's why they got the team. But
they're patriotic.
You know, Columbus, yeah, exactly. That's part of, you know, the history of the name Blue Jackets. It's not little bees, even though I think that's sort of mixed in there.
That's the first thing I went to.
Yeah. But some Civil War reference. But, you know, Columbus, they do have a team. And they're fighting for its playoffs, too. You know, it's like the Western Conference right now is ridiculous. You know, how many points separate, you know, 12 from 4, really? You know, you have Vancouver and Detroit, and everyone else is, like, really in there. Going into New York against the Rangers tonight, didn't think it was going to be an easy game like the Columbus game, but definitely the team that, you know, is, you know, mediocre in a mediocre conference for sure. But
yeah, it's always hard going into Madison Square Garden. I got to tell you, though, I really appreciated Sean Avery getting the assist on Matt Green's goal. That I really enjoyed.
Yeah, Matt Green scored his annual
goal. Where he went. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was you know, it was a good game. First period, we came out strong like we always have. I don't know if it was the road fatigue or it's just the fact that you know, it's getting late in the season. Second and third period, the Rangers really picked it up. We were definitely on our heels. Once they scored that second goal, honestly, I'm very happy with the 1 point. I think that game could have very quickly gone against us. Bernier looked excellent for most of the game, you know, but then again, you never really know. So 1 point, fine.
Yeah, we'll totally take the point. I mean, you know, don't have a loss. You got to stack up points.
I think there's now 17 teams with 68 points. So
I think there's too. So
there's somewhere in there.
You know, tomorrow they'll be down to 10th or something after all the games get done played tonight. But Bernier in the shootout again played like Bernier in the shootout. Stopped. Only one
poor
of the
guy.
goals.
He got undressed a couple times.
He's got to talk to Quick more about that. I think.
Yeah,
Quick's been stellar.
Well, what are you
in
gonna
the
do?
shootout. Dustin Brown certainly awakening tonight.
Yeah, that's one thing, of course, coming in tonight, I was like, oh, two things. Power play, Dustin Brown. What is going on with this? And what do you know? Dustin Brown scores on the power play. So now I have nothing to really complain about.
All right, Kings fans, so obviously we got the good doctor in the house.
Instant credibility.
So let's take advantage of this. Let's get medical. Let's talk about some of these players that we mentioned earlier, the guys that most people have forgotten are actually still on the team. And one of them is Scott Parse. And this guy has had problem after problem. I believe he tore his labrum.
He did, yeah, in his hip. which is I think my grandmother did that at one point. Whether or not he can come back from it, yes, probably. Whether or not he's going to be a factor down the stretch is not so clear.
I mean, well, let's think about this injury. I mean, if say that would have happened to me, I mean, I feel like I'd be limping around.
They'd probably just put you out.
Months.
Actually, yeah.
Right. I mean, they probably would.
Yeah. Death panels and all.
So this guy's gonna get on skates and play some hockey during the most extreme time of the year.
He'll be fine next year, I think. Down the stretch, I mean, do we really even need him? Who you know?
Spoken like a true doctor. And the other guy, obviously, is Marco Sturm, who this guy has had knee problem after knee problem. You know, the last couple of years, he tore his ACL.
Yeah, he blew out one knee, then he blew out the other knee, and then he came back and blew out another knee.
Now, knee tendonitis is what he's officially listed at right now, and he's day-to-day. I believe he could be back any day now.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
All right. Well, your ligaments attach bone to bone. So that's your ACL, your MCL, your cruciate ligaments. Your tendons, that's actually a very interesting diagnosis.
Knee tendonitis?
Knee tendonitis. I suppose that, I'm sure it's related to some sort of ongoing capsule injury he had from his ligament tears. Is he going to be able to skate again? Of course. Is he going to be a factor down the stretch? I'm actually a little bit more optimistic about Marco Sturm.
More than Parse.
Obviously more than Parse, because he's only been out for.
I mean, most people.
That's true. Now,
be able to walk again.
Who's going to have the longer career? Probably Scott Parse, but there's also an age difference there. Justin Williams. Everybody assumed that he was made of cotton candy or something, but he's had these very strange, random injuries, and he's come back, and he's a resilient guy. He's doing great. He's not going to break his leg in the same spot twice, hopefully. So, yeah.
It's very optimistic, Doc.
Well, thank you.
So, Kings fans, trade deadline looming. You hear the chatter every day, the rumors, all kinds of names thrown out there. Everyone from Gaborik, which is the rumor that will never die or happen. Hearing everyone from Brad Richards to Rick Nash is sort of the big sexy deals, or smaller ones like maybe a Hemsky or a Penner. So lots of names being thrown out there, but
too many names.
Too many names. I mean, we talked about this when we were on the radio last weekend in Montreal, and as much as we'd like the Kings to make a big move like that, do you really see Dean Lombardi doing that?
Honestly, my cell phone's blowing up. I get Eklund Twitter pushes, of course, like everybody. And the Kings are mentioned every other day. It's either, I don't know if Dean Lombardi is just the bridesmaid in all these deals, that he can't quite put a package together, or if this is just smoke because people think the Kings should acquire somebody, but there's obviously enough talk that something may happen. It would not surprise me if nothing happens.
That brings us into our question of the day, which is, should the Kings make a move at the deadline? Chemistry is high right now. Team's playing really well on the road, so you got to wonder if they even really need to make a move, or if Dean Lombardi will. So leave your answers and comments downstairs. So that's right, Kings fans. Keith will be back for the next episode next week, following the back at home against the Wild with Dr. KingsCast.
Can't get rid of me.
So until then, I'm Chris Kalaziewski.
I'm Dr. KingsCast.
And thank you for watching Overtime by KingsCast.